Okay, PTSD Part 2. So trauma gets stored in the lower part of your brain. If you put your hand on the bottom of your head next to your neck, they call that the animal part or the lizard brain. It's the first part of your brain that develops, and it doesn't have logic. The logic center of our brain is up in here, and that's the part of our brain that helps us organize ourselves and do complicated tasks, and it's our management system. So what happens with trauma is the feelings of trauma, the actual event, gets stored back there in the animal center of our brain. So think of yourself in a room with a trapped raccoon. The raccoon only has three options. It can freeze and try to pretend it's dead and hope you don't notice it, or it can fight and come at you and try to get out of the room that way, or it can flee. It can just try to run. So fight, freeze, flee. And that's really what happens back here when a memory gets triggered that hasn't been healed. When trauma gets triggered in some way, you go into the fight, flight, freeze part of your brain, and you're not thinking logically, and there's really not much you can do about it. So that's why we teach the breathing techniques, the grounding techniques, to try to get you back into the present, up here into your logic center, so that you can deal with whatever's happening logically and remind yourself, I'm not going to die. I'm in a safe place. This is not really happening right now. But in the book that I talked about before, The Body Keeps the Score, the brain scans of people who are listening to a trauma they wrote down being read back to them, it lights up the brain as if it's happening right now. So trauma lives in the present tense. It doesn't live in the past tense. It didn't happen a long time ago. When it gets triggered, it's happening right now. So that's why we need to get the healing. And in the next video, I'll talk about different ways to heal trauma and PTSD.